to From Age to Age, an oral history podcast series about the parish history and hopes for the future from the Church of St. Francis Xavier in New York City. We're recording in the second floor parlor of our parish, and because of that, you may hear sirens, dogs, or a steady hum of construction. My name is Michelle Jung, and I'm a parishioner of St. Francis Xavier and a member of the Oral History Ministry. The Oral History Project was conceived to preserve the unique history of this church by inviting our longtime parishioners to share their personal stories with a newer generation, illustrating why this parish is distinctive, unique, and a very special place.
Good morning and welcome to the St. Francis Xavier ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam Journey to Peace and Love series. I am Pablo Jimenez, and I have been a parishioner and catechist at this church for a little more than 4 years, in fact. Today is October 18th, 2021, and I will be talking to Roseanne Bonadilla. Roseanne, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Pablo.
How are you today?
Great. Happy to be with you.
I am very excited and honored to talk to you today. We met about 4 years ago when I first joined the parish and the RCIA. We worked together as part of the staff. And I would like to start asking you, how did you find St. Francis Xavier? And tell me, was it sort of love at first sight, or was it a process to discover that this was the parish for you?
Well, what happened a few years after college, I moved with my college roommate to Manhattan. Always wanted to live in Manhattan from my earliest years. I was born in Brooklyn. And one of the things that I loved, so many things, but one of them was visiting all the different churches. Now, that sounds funny, I think, I was in my 20s, and I was excited about, I have all these churches I can go to and see their masses and so forth. And in one of the churches I visited, in their bulletin, there was an advertisement for something called the Lay Spirituality Program. And I thought, that would be something I'm interested in. So, of course, I didn't call right away. I just waited. And when I called, I spoke to the pastor at the time, Joe Durr, and I said, I'm interested. He says, well, we've already begun. You can join the next group. I said, fine, okay. So I just continued my adventure in churches and, just loved New York City in general. And then when the new group was going to start, Joe Durr called me to say, are you still interested? I said, yes. And the first time I ventured into Xavier was for the first meeting of the Lay Spirituality Program. And I didn't know anyone, and I was very kind of on the quiet side, which is not anything like I am now. And people were there from Xavier. That's when I first met Elder Luisi and Mary Gaglione, who remain dear friends to this day. And this was in the fall of 1985, so it was a really long time ago. And they would talk about Xavier, and I wasn't living in this neighborhood. So I thought, this is such a great parish from what they say. This is such a great place. I am not worthy of coming here. I'm not holy enough. This is what I thought. I really did. So finally, after we were in the group for many months. We went on retreat in the fall. I said, all right, I'm going to come to Mass here. And I went to a Sunday 5 Mass, and I'm home. I'm home. And I no longer went looking at different churches or different communities. I started coming to Xavier from that moment.
That's a wonderful story, Roseanne. I was remembering when you and I worked together at the RCIA, I learned from you that a special component of our journey of faith is doubt.
Mm.
Now that you have told us how you fell in love with this parish. Have there been times of doubt in this process?
You mean in terms of my faith?
Well, I wouldn't go there. More like this is the right parish for you. Have been
Yes.
times of crisis?
Yes. Yeah, Pablo, being here changed my life. I already was a person of faith when I came, but new. I mean, I had gone to a Jesuit college and had a whole conversion, there. But being here changed my life even more. It really changed the whole trajectory of my life because it was real. The gospel was real here. People like Mary and other the Jesuits on the staff. I mean, it was an embodied faith. It wasn't just talk. And that moved me, and I was a quiet person and I was filled with I have to fulfill someone else's expectations and so forth. And boy, I came to see, oh, no, it's what do I hear God saying to me? What do I hear God saying to me? And I worked in the library of a big law firm. I left that job. I came here to work for 3 years on the staff, and I didn't know anything, so that was really hard. And I said, I learned so much doing that I said, I realized I still have a lot to learn. And I went off and studied theology at the Jesuit school in Massachusetts. And it all just changed me and changed my life, changed my relationship with the world and with everyone I met, So I am just complete and utter gratitude. Before I found Xavier, in my very hard, dark times, I used to really, in prayer, but really kind of almost silently screaming to God, where are you? Where are you, God? And then once I was here, I remember one moment, in a quiet moment, I heard God say, see, here's one place that you can find me. And I really felt God led me here.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
So you said that you arrived to Xavier in the fall of 1985.
Yes.
Those were times in which there was a lot of change in the church.
Yes.
And even before that, probably when you were in college.
Yes.
So how has that been for you here at Xavier? The consequence of the Vatican Council.
My parish, where my parents lived, they're deceased, out on Long Island, it was a good parish, and I would go there, and it was, Vatican II parish, and but nothing like here, in terms of, well, first of all, we're in the city, it's Chelsea, so the welcoming of people of every background and point of view, to me, that's just very, very powerful and very, very real. And to me, God is very real, and I want to live in reality. So I can do that here. And I think we've been blessed with, the people that I first met from the staff, of course, are, gone, long gone, and many others have come and also have gone. And we have now a wonderful staff. Father Ken Bowler is a very holy man. Luz Marina Diaz, as you know, is very important to me, and she gives me opportunities to continue to be in ministry, which I really means the world to me. And Father Zach Prasuti, I got involved a little bit with his ministry of people who are incarcerated or formerly incarcerated. And that means a lot to me too. I never, when in different prayer group or, different gatherings, sometimes the question is, what are you most grateful for in your life? And I always say, I am grateful to be alive and that I have had a life that my faith is the core of who I am.
And I see that, in fact, that faith keeps you involved in different ministries.
Yes.
Yes. One of them is the bell choir. In fact, we are in October, Advent and Christmas season are around the corner.
Yeah, we're getting ready. We're rehearsing our Christmas songs.
So how did you get involved in the bell choir?
Oh, yeah, for me, that's a really good question because, especially once I came to Xavier and, I've been in these, various different kinds of groups. And there's people who can sing, people who can dance, people who are artists, people who have all kinds of talents. And for a long time, I would ask God, God, why didn't you give me any gifts? Like, I have no gifts from you. You have to edit this out. And anyway, and I always wanted to be able to sing, right? And I love music. And at one of these fairs for the ministry fairs, I was walking around and a member of the choir, Mike Doris, was behind the choir table. He says, do you want to join the choir or something? No, I said, I can't sing. And he says, well, then how about the bell choir? And so I just in that moment said, okay, all right, I'll join the bell choir. And so even though I have no natural talent, I'm able to learn, all right, play this bell on this note and etc. So I've been in it. Oh God, I don't know. I think I joined in 2009, maybe. So 12 years. And yeah, and I still, enjoy it very much. John is great. John Uline, and he gets feedback. He says they really enjoy it. They really enjoy when the bells play. So, that's really nice.
Yeah, I've seen you playing for a few years now, and it's wonderful. I think the bells play in two senses, right? One, the music, and the other one is that it's very playful. It allows us to enjoy and rejoice during the liturgy.
Yeah, I want to just say too, it's when you play an instrument like the flute or the violin, you play every note that's in your music. But when you play bells, you don't play every note because other people are playing the other notes. And sometimes you go for several measures and you're not playing. And you really have to focus and pay attention to know when you play. And I've been known on more than one occasion to ask in a stage whisper, where are we? Where are we? Anyway.
That's amazing, Rosa. I was thinking about, recently there have been efforts to include racially diverse pieces of art. So before we go into that, you were here for the renovation of the church. Tell us how was that? How it was before, the process later on?
Oh, it was really, the pastor at that time was Joe Costantino. And I think he was born to do this renovation at Xavier because he had it under his belt. I thought the church was beautiful before the renovation. The first time I went to bell choir rehearsal was down in Hurtado Hall, and that's where we had masses that year. And then we came up into the church, but there was the screen, and we were in folding chairs. And I would sit in the back often during those masses. And that's when I sat behind Nancy Pelosi. She was here for the first time. So that's part of my renovation experience. Her daughter at the time lived nearby, I believe. And I was sitting behind her on the folding chairs, and she turns around during the Kiss of Peace, and peace be with you. And then I'm like, after that was over, I lean forward and I whisper in her ear, "You look like Nancy Pelosi." She was the speaker then. And she turns around and she says, "Yes, yes." So now I'm telling the people near me, Nancy Pelosi. And anyway, so that was exciting. And on the first time I came into the church after the renovations during the Christmas season, right? It was maybe Christmas Eve Mass. I just looked with my mouth open. I just could not believe that this was all hidden underneath all those decades or however long it was of, dirt and grime and grit and whatever it was. It was extraordinary to me, extraordinary.
What are the parts of the church, physically the building that you enjoy the most, or perhaps there has been one that has helped your prayer?
Usually at Mass, I sit on the side, by the Mary altar. That's my spot with other people there that we go to the 11:30. But other times, if I go to another Mass, I sit in the pew, facing the altar on the left-hand side, 2 or 3 back. And I love to look then at the statues that frame, the murals. And there's one of Jesus pointing to his Sacred Heart. And the first time, I really noticed that, boy, I felt like he was pointing to his heart, to me. And then after that, I kept seeing images of the Sacred Heart. And I Googled, what is the symbol of the Sacred Heart? What does that mean? I don't think about it. And then when I see the Sacred Heart, I said, oh, yeah, that's something there for me to reflect on.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I hear a lot of people saying that they feel at home, or we in fact feel at home at Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
And you have contributed a lot in making this place feel at home for a lot of people throughout the years.
Oh, I hope so. I try to.
And more recently, you've been working on making it more welcoming for people racially diverse, right? So right now, I know you're working on biblical readings on social justice. How did you get ready for those readings? How has it affected your relationships, both inside and outside the church?
And I do that with Michael Alaka, and he does the scripture part of it, and he's amazing at it. And then on my weeks that I do it, I bring in other source materials, and church teaching, maybe a video. But here's what happened. So I grew up on Long Island, and and I say this without judging people at all, but it was all white. I went to public school and K through 12, no Black students. I didn't share classes with Black students or then have any friends who were Black until I got to college. And growing up in that context, I knew that it wasn't right. I felt very early on, as I began my own education, began looking at things, racism is a source of maybe all of the problematic issues in this country. Maybe everything can go back to that. I know that there is systemic racism in this country. And a book that I read that had a big influence on me was Howard Zinn's book, People's History of the United States or People's History of America. Again, you're going to know my political affiliation. You might want to edit this out. But when Trump was running and then was elected, I said, oh, this is this hidden racism, this underbelly of racism coming to light, people coming out from under. And so when their book discussion started here and it was going to be, the topic would be racism, reading various books on racism, I joined that. It was pre-pandemic. I joined that book group and read all those books, Brian Massengale's Racial Justice and the Catholic Church, and others, Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility. I learned a tremendous amount. I call on those when racial justice scripture study. And so on Sundays, when we talk about the issue of racial justice, and we talk, we're a bunch of white people sitting around talking about racial justice, but I think there's a value in that. I think we have to look at our own prejudices, on just a daily basis. Of course, everyone needs to do that. And then we just keep talking. We keep talking about it. We keep learning. We keep sharing thoughts and ideas. And I feel that has value.
It does indeed, and this parish has made a great effort in welcoming people who are very diverse. If I may, one last question.
Sure.
I'm an avid reader.
Uh-huh.
And for me and the younger generations at Xavier, if you had to recommend a book,
okay,
which one would it be? Maybe one that changed your life, maybe one that you have read many times because you're passionate about?
Something comes to mind, and it was part of the, pop culture at one time, but I read it twice, and I hardly ever read a book twice unless I'm studying for a test, which I don't have anymore. But I would say The Shack, a book called The Shack.
And why The Shack?
Because it's about a man's journey to hearing God's voice after one of his kids is murdered.
Thank you, Roseanne. I will definitely get it soon for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, Christmas reading.
Probably. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Roseanne.
Pablo.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
The music you are hearing is provided by the Xavier Music Ministry. From Age to Age is produced by St. Francis Xavier Church in New York City. This episode was recorded and edited by Cynthia Bastidas of Semiita Productions. A special thanks to the staff of St. Francis Xavier and Father Ken. Join us on our next episode. To learn more about St. Francis Xavier, visit sfxavier.org and look for us on social media. All copyrighted music reproduced with permission of one licensed copyright, A-700530, rights reserved. Music reprint license number 944. From downtown Manhattan, we wish you a blessed morning, day, or night.